Welcome to my environmental data project over the environmental and health challenges of Mailuu-Suu in Kyrgyzstan. My name is Mario Gallegos, and in this presentation, we'll explore the radiation residue left due to the uranium mining, its impact on local communities, and the broader implications for this region. To begin, I will share the purpose and objective. The purpose of this presentation is to analyze the environmental and health effects of uranium mining and radiation in Mailuu-Suu. Using data, graphs, and visuals, I will highlight how radioactive contamination has shaped the lives of residents and impacted this region. Next, I will share the table of contents. First, we'll discuss the historical overview of uranium mining in Mailuu-Suu. Then we'll move on to cancer rate trends. I will discuss findings on birth defects, gender-specific disparities, and key obstacles. I'll conclude with a summary and professional references. To begin, between 1946 and 1968, Mailuu-Suu's Zapandini Mining and Chemical Combine processed over 10,000 tons of uranium ore, primarily to support the USSR's nuclear weapons program. Radioactive waste was then irresponsibly dumped near the town in areas prone to geological instability. Today, around 3 million cubic meters of uranium waste remain in 23 tailing pits and 13 dumps. These sites have contaminated the Mailuu-Suu River, which streams into a much larger river of Sir Daria, spreading radioactive material into the densely populated Fergana Valley, home to over 10 million people. This environmental disaster continues to impact lives of these communities and their health. Here we have a line graph illustrating the cancer rate in Mailuu-Suu from 1999 to 2013. Cancer rates in Mailuu-Suu showed a notable trend. Initially, there was a steady increase closely linked to the region's history of uranium mining. According to the Ministry of Health of the Kyrgyz Republic, Mailuu-Suu once had the highest cancer rate in the country, which peaked at 172 cases per 100,000 people in 1999. However, by 2006, this rate had dropped to 100 and further declined to 89 by 2013. Despite this improvement, lung, stomach, and breast cancer remains the most prevalent types in the region, highlighting the long-term health impacts of environmental contamination. Now I'll move on to this bar graph that depicts the percentage of birth defects in Mailuu-Suu. From the year 2000 to 2016, there has been a steady decrease in birth defects with the exception of outliers in 2004 and 2010. Although the percentage of birth defects in Mailuu-Suu have decreased over time, it remains significantly higher than in other parts of Kyrgyzstan. These birth anomalies serve as a critical indicator of the long-term health effects of environmental radioactive contamination. Research by the Institute of Medical Problems found that birth defects in Mailuu-Suu were 3 times as more common than in Osh, the country's second largest city. The study further revealed a strong correlation between the prevalence of birth defects and the proximity of parents' residences to radioactive waste sites. Polluted water was identified as the primary factor contributing to these malformations, highlighting the serious health risk posed by environmental contamination. Next, what's illustrated is a pie chart depicting one of the most alarming findings in Mailuu-Suu, this being the disproportionate impact of cancer on women. Women account for 70% of all cancer patients in the region. Breast cancer specifically is the second most common type after lung cancer. On average, 12 women are diagnosed with breast cancer annually in this town, and unfortunately, 12 women also lose their lives to cancer each year. These statistics highlight the severe and ongoing health challenges faced by the community. Next up, I'll discuss the key obstacles. The environmental impact of uranium mining extends beyond Mailuu-Suu. Radioactive and heavy metal contamination affects neighboring countries like Tajikistan and Uzbekistan. These regions lack robust legislation and coordination to manage shared environmental threats. Mailuu-Suu also faces additional risks from landslides and floods, which threaten to release radionuclides into the Fergana Valley, Central Asia's agricultural heartland. Efforts to address the crisis have been sporadic. Between 2010 and 2012, an $8.4 million World Bank project moved waste from a high-risk dump to a safer location. However, locals reported poor communication, stirred up radioactive dust, and a perceived rise in cancer cases shortly afterwards. Government awareness campaigns have been limited as well, with many residents unaware of the dangers. Rumors and misconceptions are abundant, such as claims that drinking vodka can prevent radiation sickness. Without stronger education and international cooperation, these challenges will continue to persist. In summary, Mailuu-Suu stands as a reminder of the devastating environmental and public health consequences of uranium mining. The region faces long-term health crisis, marked with an alarmingly high cancer rate and birth defects, as well as extensive contamination of the Mailuu-Suu River, jeopardizing the livelihoods of millions across Central Asia. Current initiatives to tackle these challenges are insufficient. The government's responses and lack of regional cooperation leaves the community vulnerable to ongoing environmental disasters. Addressing this radiation crisis demands immediate and sustained international support, comprehensive education to raise public awareness, and the implementation of innovative long-term waste management strategies. Without decisive action, Mailuu-Suu will continue to pose a grave threat to future generations. In conclusion, here are the references for all the data, studies, and visuals used in this presentation. Thank you for listening.